This sealed entrance you see here was nicknamed the Gateway to Hell. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, parts of the secret KGB files reportedly began to surface, and among them was a project that had been hidden from the public for years, a massive drilling operation deep beneath the earth, later known as the Gateway to Hell. According to the story, strange sounds were recorded from inside the drilling site, sounds some people believed came straight from hell itself. Now, this is where things get weird. At the height of the Cold War, while the United States and the Soviet Union were racing to conquer space, the Soviets decided to go in the exact opposite direction. Not upward, but downward, straight into the Earth, even though the Soviet Union was already claiming victory in the space race. On May 24, 1970, one of the most ambitious scientific projects in history officially began, a mission to drill deeper into the Earth's crust than anyone ever had before. But why? Because Soviet scientists believed the depths of the Earth might contain answers to some of humanity's biggest mysteries, from how the planet formed, to possibly even clues about the origins of the universe itself. You know, light weekend science. So they launched a huge drilling project on the Kola Peninsula, a project that would later become surrounded by terrifying rumors and conspiracy theories. In 1979, the Soviet Union broke America's Bertha Rogers drilling record of 9,583 meters. And by 1983, they had already reached a depth of 12 kilometers. But the deeper they drilled, the stranger things became, naturally. Then finally, in 1989, they reached an incredible depth of 12,262 meters. That same year, as the Soviet Union slowly began collapsing, parts of the secret KGB files reportedly started leaking out. And soon the media gave the entire story a dramatic nickname, the Gateway to Hell. Very subtle. According to official reports, the project was finally shut down in 1992 after temperatures underground reached nearly 180 degrees Celsius, far hotter than scientists had expected. But the real question is, was that really the whole story? By this point, this was no longer just a normal drilling project. Most of the reports, samples, and research were immediately classified by the Soviet government. And because of that silence, the Kola project became one of the most mysterious experiments in history. But that's where things got even stranger. When the drill bits tried to go deeper again, something suddenly changed. It was as if they had entered a massive empty space. The drill bits were spinning freely without hitting any solid surface. Totally normal, of course. The moment the team realized something was seriously wrong, they decided to pull the drill back up. And what they found only made things worse. The drill bits had partially melted. Yeah, not ideal. And that's when the rumors began. Intense heat was coming from deep inside the shaft, and strange sounds were being heard that nobody could properly explain. When a thermometer was lowered nearly 12 kilometers underground, the result shocked everyone. Right before melting, the device recorded a temperature close to 1,200 degrees Celsius, just a little warm. According to the science at the time, this made absolutely no sense. Temperatures that high simply weren't expected at that depth. At this point, Dr. Dmitri Azakov, one of the project's senior geologists, described a disturbing moment in his notes.
The drill bits suddenly began spinning wildly, indicating that either the bits had shattered or they had entered an empty space like a cave. When we measured the temperature, before the thermometer melted, it was showing the unbelievable temperature of 1,200 degrees Celsius. This was several times higher than our predictions, as if the fires of hell were burning at that depth.
The team was split almost immediately. Some wanted to continue drilling, while others believed the entire operation needed to stop. Honestly, fair enough. In the end, the government ordered the project to continue. But there was one major problem. The equipment could no longer survive those conditions. That's when Dr. Azakov requested specially designed heat-resistant cables and microphones similar to the equipment used in space missions. Even the scientists themselves weren't sure the equipment would survive down there, which is not exactly reassuring. Finally, the microphone was lowered to a depth of 12,262 meters. And after around 1 hour and 12 minutes, it finally reached the end of the shaft, but what came through the speakers completely changed the atmosphere in the room. Some people said the recordings sounded like human screams, something nobody there was prepared to hear. Definitely not background music. From that moment on, for many people, this was no longer just a scientific experiment. It became known as the gateway to hell. According to Azakov's reports, the team later sent another special microphone down for further investigation. But the results were no different. Once again, strange sounds were recorded, sounds described as human screams. At first, the team assumed it was caused by technical issues or the extreme pressure and temperature underground, but later tests reportedly ruled that out. When the audio recordings were sent to higher authorities, an urgent request was made for advanced cameras to be lowered into the shaft, cameras similar to those used in space missions. Whatever was captured down there was never officially released. Only a small number of people, including Dr. Azakov and senior officials, were allowed to see those images. Soon after, orders were given to stop the project entirely and classify everything connected to it. Later, the Soviet government reportedly destroyed a large portion of the documents, leaving behind only a limited scientific record. There are also reports claiming that some members of the team were warned not to speak about what they had witnessed. Then, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, some of those documents began surfacing again. But even today, much of the truth remains buried in mystery. And that leaves one question still unanswered. What was really down there? Were these documents genuine? Or was the entire story nothing more than Cold War propaganda? So what do you think really happened beneath the Kola Peninsula?